Hi everyone, it's Daz here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, it's just going to be a summary of my career path to date. Now that I finished work for the year, I thought it would be quite a good time to sort of share the journey which I've had throughout all these years. I hope you enjoyed the video because I've actually had a really good time making it. Just thinking back through all the years of what I've done, revisiting the sort of work which I did as a really junior engineer all the way up to the present time. So hopefully you enjoy it. So my first graduate job was at a company called CH2M, formerly at the time called Hydroq. When I joined, it was sort of mid-transition. CH2M was bought by Jacobs a few years ago, I think. During my time there, I was doing some simple steel frame and foundation designs for a school and campus. The reason I left was because I felt I wasn't learning quickly enough. I didn't get the sense that there was enough projects and variety to boost my technical skills. We would have team meetings every couple of months or so, and I got the sense that the buildings team, which included like civil structures and mechanical and electrical engineers, wasn't doing very well. Because of those two factors, I found a job, and I remember having my resignation letter ready on the Monday morning, but I chickened out that day. The very next day, the whole buildings team across the UK except for London was made redundant, so right after that meeting where it was announced, I handed in my resignation. Even though my learning was lacking in this company, I made some really great friends along the way, and they are still friends to this day. I ended up moving to Hydroq, a company which I stayed in for nearly 4 years, and probably had the best time of my career here. Not only were the projects plentiful, but they were interesting and made plenty of friends along the way. From day one, I was straight into designing a masonry building on a transfer slab, learning how to model on robot and a lot about concrete frame design. Huge amounts to learn for just one project. This is actually the project I talk about in my confessions video, so if you haven't watched it yet, please click on the link and check it out. Moving into my second year at Hydroq, working on some very large new concrete frame buildings, gaining more and more experience in 3D modelling and detailed design of concrete frame buildings. At the end of 2015, I was promoted to a project engineer, so it was time to really lead some projects. I was given a chance to lead 2 school projects when a senior colleague was going on a month-long holiday. This turned out to be a huge turning point for me as both projects provided me huge amounts of experiences. If you have watched my videos on the ICE, you'll know that there are some key attributes that you can only attain through leading projects, and both of these projects did just that. I successfully delivered these 2 projects, which gave confidence to directors that I could deliver more and was technically capable of doing more early stage scheme work. During this year, I had my ICE portfolio signed off, which was a big milestone for my chartership with the ICE. Moving on, I continued to deliver large-scale projects as well as running multiple other projects and delegating workload. I was much more involved with project finances, not just within my own projects, but also financial forecasting for the wider team. I sat my ICE exam in March 2017, but failed. I didn't resit in the summer as I wasn't mentally prepared, as I was kind of moving house at the same time and just didn't want to overburden myself. I ended up resitting the exam in 2018 March. I knew that joining a smaller company would mean less exciting projects, but the trade-off was to join and grow a new office. This all came crumbling down when the person they hired to run and lead the office was utterly useless. A chartered engineer, but didn't know anything and lacked experience. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, being chartered doesn't make you a good engineer. So I decided to leave as I just couldn't work with someone like that, and I had lost faith in the directors due to their poor judgment and leadership. I didn't particularly want to join this company, but I wanted to leave the previous company whilst I was still in my probation, meaning my notice was only a week. If I had waited, it would have been 3 months. I'm actually not a huge fan for working for huge companies, as you can feel very lost and you are just a number with no real meaning or feeling of great contribution. I was very frustrated at this company as I was seconded instantly from a team I wanted to be in, which was building structures and into nuclear, which I had no interest in joining. But I kind of wanted to show that I was a team player and adaptable, so I just kind of went with it. This turned out to be a huge mistake, and I probably should have been firmer in insisting to be in the team I applied to be in. Due to this, I left pretty quickly as I was getting nothing from working in that team. It was painfully dull and boring with nothing significant to learn. I could have sat back and cruised through this job, but that's just not who I am. If I'm not engaged, I get really bored. So I had the opportunity to join this small company. I wanted to join a small firm like I did with Clegg's. I was kind of joint second in command at this small company and was managing a young team of engineers and technicians. The engineers had been left pretty much untrained and left alone to design buildings, which is really dangerous. Work was being issued to clients without reviews, and it was just pure shambles. I did a lot of review work alongside delivery of projects and implemented some review procedures, overseeing and guiding the engineers, which I really enjoyed. Now, the main reason for leaving was I just could no longer work with the director. I sussed out from the first month or so on the job that this person was highly erratic in behaviour, mood swings up and down, and prone to yelling and passing the blame or throwing people under the bus. This is not someone you want to work with or have as a boss. Even if you make a mistake, you should never throw your own staff under the bus, which is just completely unacceptable in my opinion. Whilst they had good intentions, it was poorly implemented and their high staff turnover rate was obscenely high, something you should watch out for when considering moving companies. I knew from an early stage that I was not going to be at this company long term, but I did want to stick it out for as long as I could until I could no longer take it anymore. I made a great move to a company with a really good bunch of people. I settled in really well and worked on some nice projects, but then COVID happened. As a new employee, I knew that I was going to be furloughed, and I got furloughed for a long time, approximately just over 6 months. I really started to panic around the 4th month into furlough, and I started looking for other prospects as a backup plan in case things took a turn for the worse. I got a couple of job offers actually, but turned them down except for one. I realised I didn't want to join another firm doing the exact same thing, so when this opportunity came up, I just went for it. It was to join their expert witness team. This job role really caught my eye one day as I was doing my daily morning browse of jobs on LinkedIn. I applied on Friday morning and heard back Monday for a video interview. The interview was very interesting. It was so quick, probably no more than 15 minutes, and I couldn't tell if it went well or not. It either went so well that I didn't need to say much, or I made such a bad impression that they couldn't be bothered to spend much time on the interview. But luckily, I got the feedback the day after and was told they'd be progressing me further in their process. I think the week after, I had arranged a face-to-face interview with another partner, which was more of a proper interview with proper interview questions, but was made in a coffee shop. I actually returned back to work from furlough, and then 2 days later, I received the offer for this new role. I spent a really long time debating about whether or not to accept this, but decided to give it a go, as it is just not often that you get to work in this kind of field. As I mentioned previously, I'll be joining what they call their expert witness and advisory team. Essentially, this team deals with buildings that have failed in some way, and it is about investigating the root cause of this failure. The fault could lie in many different areas such as design, buildability, contract, program, and it is our job to find out how. This is a brand new chapter in my career, and I really hope the job is as exciting and interesting as it was on paper. I will be sharing my journey in future videos, so stay tuned. It was a real shame to leave Cambria actually, as I felt I was really happy to settle in that position and company after 2 years of finding somewhere good to settle. It really sucked that COVID happened, as I never would have been browsing for work had I not been on furlough for so long. But it was really hard for me to turn down an opportunity like this, as it isn't something that comes up often. I mentioned in my return to YouTube video that I had applied to be a mentor for undergrads or fresh grads, and I actually found out last week that I had been accepted. I'll be getting more information on that in the new year, so when I know, you'll know. I hope you've enjoyed this video and how it shows you a career path which you could potentially take one day. Please remember to like and subscribe to get notifications on future videos. Have a really Merry Christmas. Cheers.